Hello everybody, Marty McConnell, the Off-Grid Gecko here. This little short video. I am getting ready to trade in my change. So some of it's stored in here. Got a whole bottle here of looks like new pennies that were made. I used to sort these by metal content. I was kind of saving them up. Really have no need for zinc or anything else, but I still do like silver. And so something that just struck me as odd as I started perusing through this bowl of change. This is basically when I get home at night, I take the change out of my pocket, toss it in this bowl. It is now all over my desk and all over everything else. But I decided tonight's the night. I'm going to go through this finally and just flick through it real quick and see if there's any silver coins in here. And then anything that's not silver is getting taken down to the coin changing station and getting turned in, because I need a little more cash. Actually, I need to make a phone call. But some of these kind of look like silver. So when you're identifying silver, there's a couple ways to do it. Number one, first and foremost, coins that are manufactured before 1964 usually are made, quarters and dimes that is, are usually produced with 90% pure coin silver, as it's known. So it's like 90% silver, 10% copper. It's an alloy. But there are other ways you can identify it. Like obviously if I had to sit and go through this entire jar coin by coin and check the date on every one, that would take forever. But there are a couple other ways to identify it. This is a 1965 quarter, so this is not silver money, but until the early 70s at some point, the way that these coins wear and the way they wind down kind of give them the luster of silver. So this is a silver 1962, and this is a non-silver 1965. So that's, you know, they look very, very similar. Okay, so when I spot that certain kind of luster, and there are other differences on the coin as well, how they're struck and this and that, but when I spot that certain amount of luster, I'm like, that's kind of what I'm paying attention to. Silver coins also sound differently when they hit like a hard surface like a countertop. And I don't know if these little jars will even work for this. This is a silver dime. This is a non-silver dime. See, it's got a different pitch. Anyways, there are certain materials that when you strike a silver coin against them, they just sound different. So, like, anytime I've been working as a cashier and somebody throws money on the counter, I can usually hear it if there's a silver coin in there. The way that they rattle around in my hand actually turned me on to the first silver coin I found in here. And it was in the second handful of coins that I think I pulled out of here. I was just like, wait a minute. So I haven't even, this was starting to overfill, and I haven't even gotten, as you can see, very far through it, and I've already found all this silver that I didn't even know was in there. Like usually, historically, I've been pretty good about checking my pockets or checking my coins before I throw them in. There's even a little mercury dime in here, 1941, pretty. But for whatever reason, I guess I've been neglecting that lately, so as I continue to the bottom of the dish, I probably won't find too many more, but I am still going through it. So if I see one with dull luster, if I hear a different ping, if one of the coins looks like it's been worn down and kind of rough, like this one, another 1965, I'll pick it up and look at it closer versus going through each of these individually. If you're starting off collecting coins and you're looking for silver, I would say, like, go ahead and check all the dates on your dimes and your quarters until you get a feel for how they respond. This is 70, because appearances alone don't always mean anything, even though there's another 65. They can spark my interest, so when I see one that looks right, or I hear a clink of a certain type of clink, which I'm unable to emulate for some reason, then I pick it up and take a closer look. There's a fire starter. I get in there. There's a knife. I'm looking everywhere for this thing. So, like I said, when I go through, I'm looking at a certain kind of luster. There's one right there. Just spotted him sitting in the bottom of the bowl. There's another one. Mercury dime. I'm not after wheat pennies, I'm after silver. Is that a thing? Nickel germanium? I don't know. What's this? What are you? You're pinging. Another Mercury dime. Jackpot. There must be a lot of people around here that are just blowing through Mercury dimes. I'm going to start looking at my dimes more closely. Screw the quarters. I've got dimes for days. So as I get to the bottom of the bowl, I'm not finding much more silver. So to make this interesting, I want to talk about silver and coins for a minute, because you will hear a lot of old timers, especially boomers, kind of grumbling about the fact that our money isn't backed with anything anymore. Money's not made of silver anymore. We have a fiat currency, and that spells doom for the United States. And while that may be true, and you hear younger kids when they start learning what fiat currency is, like, they start kind of whining about it too. I used to whine about it quite a bit. But then I read a bunch of history about the Roman Republic, who was almost always backed by silver, gold mainly. They were the original gold standard, as it were. And even through forgery and other problems, the biggest problem wasn't the forgery. It wasn't anything. It's just silver and gold, both, have lost value over time. And there was still, despite the fact that every Roman coin minted was minted from some kind of precious or semi-precious metal of one form or another, the value of their money still continued to decrease, and they encountered the same type of, what do you call it, not overpopulation, inflation. They encountered the same exact kind of inflation problems that people normally attribute to fiat currencies, even though they weren't using a fiat currency. Even though even the best forgeries usually still contained a high amount of the respective metal in them. You know, the forgers would actually take there's some nickel for you. They would take the coins that were minted, and they would remint them and mix the gold with a little bit of silver or something, and just recoup, like, 10%, 20% of the gold. And that was fine. And then when they were found, they were hung, of course. But there's a little silver dime that was just sitting on the counter up there. 64. What else I got sitting up here? That's a little Canadian money. So fiat currency does not necessarily mean, or rather the opposite of fiat. Like, having a currency that's backed by gold or silver does not necessarily mean it's not subject to inflation. It most definitely is, despite what the metal is. You could have your money paid out in rubies and gemstones, and it would still be subject to inflation to some degree or another. Like, inflation isn't caused by fiat currency. So what is inflation caused by? I don't have any freaking idea. I'm not an economist, but when I started learning about inflation during Roman times, with Roman money that was minted, and their standards were gold and silver for, the silver denarius and the gold solidus, or variations of those two, for hundreds of years, and they still encountered inflation. In fact, they encountered it so often that they had to go back and remint new coins, and they had to go back and destroy a bunch of coins to fix the inflation problem by various means across the Roman Empire and different emperors. But it all trickled right back to the same thing. Like, they just came up with inflation again. So fiat currency or not, inflation's a thing, and it's not always caused by what's backing your money. So it doesn't matter if you've got a pocket full of silver or a pocket full of copper. Like, inflation's inflation. It has other causes and effects, and if you want to learn more, you might want to ask an economist to, like, explain that. Explain that to me. Explain how, or if you're an economist or you know something about this, explain to me how a financial system that's backed essentially by this. Okay, silver dime is the universal measure of money since early Roman times. The dime is a direct descendant of the silver denarii in Rome, which was equivalent to a soldier's pay for one day under Emperor Julius Caesar, one of the other emperors, I'm not sure, but this was your payment for a day, a silver dime. And even in 1964, this is not going to get you through the week. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's kind of odd. It's an odd thing, inflation. It's really strange, weird thing that just happens with money, and part of it is consumer spending, part of it's a certain amount of lifestyle requirement, the value of different things shifting around. Like chocolate today is way cheaper than chocolate was in 1886. Things like that. Sorting through my money, so I'm going to take this giant bag of coins and I'm going to lug that sucker down to Walmart, if not tomorrow, then sometime this weekend, because I got the day off tomorrow. Another miracle of modern society. And I'm going to exchange that for money that I can carry in my pocket. Good old-fashioned fiat money. But I thought I'd show you guys that just to encourage you. So a little bowl of change that I've been keeping more or less for maybe about 2 years now, I guess. Dumped out that little piggy bank, and always, before you take your money to the coin station, remember to check for this stuff. Anyways, I will see you all later, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe, because I do weird shit sometimes. Bye.